So it's the end of August and Pokemon Masters is finally out. It's been a while. I've been waiting eagerly for this game to come out. And now that it's here, I don't know. I'm kind of two minds. I'm a little bit disappointed, but also it's legitimately great in a couple ways. I want to give an initial review to see where the game is at launch, so we'll have sort of a touchstone when things change or things get fixed, and I think they will. So first off, I want to say that the game has great animations, great production values, lots of text that's been translated that really does the characters well and gives them a huge boost in personality. I mean, even minor characters like the Ace Trainer and the Swimmer are, I want to roll for them, even though you can't, because they have such interesting personalities and stories in the written text. It's a bummer not everything's voiced, but there's a lot of text in the game, so I completely understand. But look at all the animations here, and there's just so many. Hopefully we can get Rose's pout animation here because it's just lovely, and I don't think I've seen these animations anywhere before. So all this stuff, all the redesigns of all the characters, they look so good, and it really does feel like you're playing as not just fuck it with you. It really does give a lot of personality to the characters, if only in the way they behave. Like that. Ah, man. Um, that extends into the Pokemon too, which if you go into a battle, the Pokemon could run forward after the flash in cutscene, and then slow Pokemon run slower, and fast Pokemon run faster, and just a lot of care and love into all of that, and it's really noticeable, and I appreciate it. Uh, what's more, I think the game runs okay. I don't know. I'm on a Samsung Note 9, so your mileage may vary, but I think that I haven't noticed any hitches or crashes or anything really aside from when the game first launched. There was a bit of lag going on. So I'm up to chapter 5 here, or chapter 6. Okay, Karina, and so far, story's been whatever. It's been sort of a Pokemon game level story. It's interesting that they're all looking for new people to encounter, and it's kind of a cool setup to have all these characters throughout the series here. But past that, there's nothing really to write home about. Um, let's get into gameplay. So I think the gameplay is still out, or the verdict's still out on the gameplay. I'm not really sure whether it's going to be something that I can keep coming back to again and again, like a Puzzle and Dragons, or like a Fire Emblem Heroes, even, or if it's going to be something. Well, at least I know it's not something that's going to turn me off immediately, like a Magia Record or anything like that. The Fate Grand Order, where there's just nothing there or no strategy whatsoever, or it's so watered down that it only feels like you're grinding. I think this is somewhere in between from what I've seen, but I think once you get to the higher difficulties, there's going to be a lot there, or I can see glimpses of strategy poking through, specifically in the tougher fights. There's a lot of boost, there's a lot of setup, there's a lot of team building. I think that I can already see being something that's definitely going to be happening. Like running the dual supports with a striker as the primary team build in the early meta, um, or even Dusclops has a boost for physical damage, whereas the special sweepers wouldn't use that. Whereas Snivy has a boost for special attack. So, and that's kind of base level stuff. But then also, I don't know. I got Candace and Abomasnow, and it has hail, which I don't know how that's going to be a useful situation or a useful tech to have. But I think in the future there may be some use for hail, or I can see the fun of team building around a hail team, and I hope it gets there. I also appreciate the auto battle, because that becomes its own strategy too of making an auto battle team, of creating the best team to farm without you having to do anything. Something very fun in Fire Emblem Heroes. So yeah, the verdict's still out. I've heard good things about the higher level battles. There's some trainer specific battles in the end game. There's some just really tough battles overall. So once I get there, maybe I'll come back and give a bit more information in regards to those. But so far, I've liked what I've seen, but I haven't been astonished or super impressed. And I think this is pretty crucial because it will be the thing. If it's very good, then I will come back for the combat. If it's not, then I can see myself falling off. So let's hit the negatives of the game. And I think in comparison to the positives of the game, the negatives do kind of weigh less or do kind of seem to pale in comparison because there's so much about this game that is pretty well crafted and not just a mobile cash grab. Um, that I'm going to bring up a couple things here, but I don't want to say, even if I talk about them for longer, I think the game is better than it is worse. Or there's the positives, the strength of the positives outweigh the weaknesses of the negatives. The first one, though, is the paid currency. Um, this is a pretty bad one. I know there's been a lot of people who've come up and said, well, Fate Grand Order does it this way. Well, Fate Grand Order is not a good gotcha game at all. So that's not a good thing. And I've submitted feedback, and you certainly can submit feedback in the Pori phone under customer support to tell them that the difference between gems and paid gems is a pretty shitty and terrible one, and I don't want to see it in the game. It's going to be bad press for the game. It's going to be inexcusable in a lot of ways, and it does come off as just a cash grab. Ugh. It's a bummer because the thing is you can't roll on there's like limited banners with guaranteed 5 stars, only one at release, and you can't roll on those with free gems. It's just the dumbest idea. I'd love to have been in that meeting and just said, "What are we doing here? Wait, no, don't, don't, just don't." Um, Unfortunately, it's what we've got at release. So I hope if the outcry is big enough, they'll reconsider that one. Maybe it flies, or maybe it's like it flies in more Japanese gotcha games. But this is much more of a worldwide game than anything, you know, even Final Fantasy Record Keeper or even Fate Grand Order. This is a global game by nature of the property that it's attached to. Um, yeah. So I'll check that out real quick to tell you. Yeah, I generally jumping back over to the positives. I like the battle system and the combat and the way your characters grow. There's level up manuals to get your new guys up there right away. Where are we going? Oh God, I'm so mad that I have Wolfric because he's probably the furthest away from a character design that I like. And now I have to see him show up, and I don't want to ever see him ever. So I wonder if I can like release him or something, like he's a Pokemon, take him out back, and let him out in the wild. So this thing's Pair Scout, 300 gems for one pull, unless you do the daily discount for a paid pull. Ugh, this is so bad. And the guaranteed 5 star banner can only be done once with paid gems. It's pretty terrible any way you slice it. Um, and even though I did get Phoebe on my first pull, that was a 1.4% chance, and that I just think I just think if the game wants to reach the same heights or acceptability or have that good reputation about being a well-run game or very friendly to the player, then it needs to follow in that Fire Emblem Heroes model of a lot of free orbs and a lot of rolls and a lot of free gifts, and not in the model of Freight Grand Order. or any of the more stingy or poorly run games. Yeah, and this is my other complaint here, and we'll go through it now. The summoning pool is trash. The game at launch has nobody to roll for. And this might, you know, we might look back and laugh when we've got 7 Cynthia ults. But right now, I mean, they've got a couple waifu bait roles on here with Karen and Olivia. Lorelai's in the game. But man, there are so many either kind of trashier C tier Pokemon trainer picks, um, or like Thornton. Come on, even Noland, who's a good character, and he's using Mega Pinsir. It's like, ugh, really? You put Will in first? There's a lot of like old men, and stuff that nobody is gonna really want to roll for in the base 4 and 3 star pool. And you know what? That makes sense, I guess, in some weird way. But I don't want Wolfrock. I want Avalugg, and it's dissuading me from even pulling more because I know I can get freaking Clay. Really, Clay? So that you put Clay in the game at launch, and then he's your pity breaker roll, and then Elisa, who I'd actually want to roll for, and I'd actually would put money into. I keep her for her own banner. So yeah, kind of a bummer. But I'm sure that'll change over time. I expected the blue banner to be on release because at least that's somebody that I would actually like to engage with, but I guess not. Gem prices are kind of bad too. Yeah, I bought the 1 pack here. I don't know. For me, I would advise against spending money specifically because the pool is so bad, and there's kind of exploitative practices with the paid gems right now. I said that, but I've done it myself. So call me out on my hypocrisy. But I don't think there's any reason to be spending money. Definitely hop in, definitely play, definitely see, level up, and see if you like it, and check out the challenge because with the free characters, you can definitely reach the end game. But yeah, my verdict is not to engage with the paid summoning. No fan favorites, no Cynthia, no Red, no waifus, no Nessa. Yeah, kind of a bummer. There's also, let me check this and let me show you this too. There's also no credits for the voice actors, which I can't believe. So Phoebe here is voiced by Christina V, one of my favorite voice actresses, voice of Homura Kemi and Nanoha and many more. But you'll notice here,
just see if you can even touch my Pokemon.
There's nowhere that it says Christina V anywhere on here, and there's no attribution to her as a voice actress. Which is kind of a bummer. I would understand they don't have artists. I'm sure it was internal artists did all the modeling work, but Fire Emblem Heroes definitely attributed the voice actors, and that was a big draw and a seriously good thing. So that's kind of a bummer that it's not there. I might submit feedback on that one too. That's a small thing though. It's neither here nor there. Finally, the thing I'll say is that it may be content light right now. Thinking back on it, it's probably about the same as where other mobile game launches were, and especially gacha games. There's stuff to do. There's enough content to keep you engaged for, probably 10 to 15 hours. Again, I haven't reached the end of it. And there's some higher level grinding stuff and character specific stories and things like that. But I don't think there's a whole lot of challenge as of yet. And again, day 2, can't really be expected to have all that challenge in there, but even something like PvP or, the arena in Fire Emblem Heroes, some type of content like that would be very welcome. I think we'll get there, but it's not in at launch. So again, you're not, if you wait 3 months and then start Pokemon Masters, you're in really no danger of missing out on anything. In fact, that's probably the smarter thing to be doing. Yeah. So, you know, I'd been waiting on this game for quite some time. I've been very excited for it. I don't know that it's lived up to my expectations. I can see it living up to my expectations, and I'm certainly not disappointed. But I'd like to see some other things out of it. Definitely more content, more modes. You know, a change in the practices of the monetization, certainly, and better characters, absolutely. But right now, it couldn't hurt. Free to play. Go in. I'd advise you to go in, check it out, level up. You know, don't spend any money, certainly. But then, you know, get to the place where you say, okay, I've seen this game, and then come back in, I bet 3 months it'll have much more for you to do. 3 months to 6 months, it'll be a good game. So that's my take on Pokemon Masters. Right now, too soon to tell. If the combat's engaging, if the updates are good, if they fix up the rough edges, it'll definitely be one that I continue playing. If not, I don't know. I think I might stick with Puzzle and Dragons and Fire Emblem Heroes. So yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments below. And yeah, we'll see what else happens with Pokemon Masters. Come on. Come on, Rosa, do the pout thing, man. Dang it. How do you make her do the pout thing? There it is. Wait, no. She has a funny little face. The thinking emoji. Anyway. Yep. Oh, and I didn't get Roxy. Yeah, I pulled 4, I think. 4 pulls. Got Phoebe, which is great, but no Roxy. So we'll get her sooner or later. She's a 4-star, and this 4-star pool is very low. Very limited. So anyway. Yep.